Hello and welcome back to my channel. Jacob Payton here, and I know it has been a hot minute since I've done a video. I meant to do a lot more videos this month, but I'll be honest, the month of October has flown by and it has been super busy. But I am going to get some videos. Sadly, it looks like they're going to be mostly up the end of the month, but November I should have a lot more videos for you guys. Finishing up some book reviews. I'm going to do some top 5 lists. It's going to be pretty cool. But anyway, today's video is going to be a book haul. I've been doing actually a large number of book hauls, even though I was trying to scale those down. But I've just been finding so many good stuff. So, yeah. It's kind of unavoidable. This book haul is kind of all over the place. It's got some nonfiction, some fiction. I've been finding a lot of Robert McCammon, which is really cool because I now have a whole TBR pile at this point that is nothing but Robert McCammon. But yeah, first book I guess, and this is gonna be Robert McCannon's Mystery Walk, which sadly is pretty destroyed, but I mean I got this book for less than a quarter, so I'm not really complaining. It is obviously still very readable. Sadly though, it looks like someone cut it or something, so I do miss out on some of this like really cool cover that features some sort of like open mouth over this mountains, and it says Mystery Walk as finally a turned tale of horror as the best of them says the Houston Chronicle, and it's from deep within the empty house of a murdered family. Billy Creekmore hears his name whispered and is drawn inside. At a revival meeting in Alabama, Wayne Falconer demonstrates his miraculous healing powers while demons feast and grow in his soul. On separate journeys through the deep south to Chicago, from a world of innocence to a world of evil, greed, and lust, the two young men discover their manhood and fuel a deadly rivalry. On a scorched slab of desert, they will meet in fear and unite their extraordinary powers against a raging, unshackled spirit, the walking, hungry corpse of the Shape Changer. Bum bum bum. So yeah, this is another Robert McCammon book. I'm pretty excited to read this. Then next up, I have a book by Fred Saberhagen. This is Shiva and Steel. I actually have not read a lot of Fred Saberhagen, and what I have read has been like the Dracula books he's done. He did like a bunch of books of like Dracula meeting Sherlock Holmes, and a lot of just kind of like spin-off retelling of, you know, the OG vampire. So this is going to be a bit different. I know he wrote in a plethora of genres, so it's going to be pretty interesting to, you know, see what he does in the kind of like science fiction landscape. And it does say it's an all-new Berserker novel, so I don't know if the Berserker is a series, and if so, which book this is, because I might be starting the middle of the series, the end of the series, I don't really know. But if I like it, I will go back and read the rest of the series. And it says, one Berserker computer has suddenly developed a tactical strategy unlike anything the human opposition has ever seen. Shiva, like the Hindu god of destruction, after which it was named, annihilates entire colonies with the help of its fiendish subordinates. It's up to Commander Claire Normandy to prepare for Shiva's attacks. With the help of pilot Harry Silver, big difference there. Pilot, not pirate, I do apologize. And then, when the Berserkers approach, a decision is made to destroy the destroyer, whatever the cost. But will Normandy and Silver be ready to discover that something wholly unexpected yet eerily familiar lies gnarled within the steel? So this kind of sounds like a pretty classic science fiction story of, you know, AI gone rogue. So that seems pretty interesting. I dig those kind of stories, so that is something that's right up my alley. Next up is a book that I'd actually been looking for a little while, and this is Truth and Steel. I wasn't looking for this particular novel, but just any EverQuest fiction, because I do really like EverQuest. I mean, I don't really play it that much anymore, but when I was younger, I was really into it. So it's pretty exciting to actually find some of these books because, like the actual role-playing game, it is very hard to track down. Obviously, the MMO is still free for you guys that like to play older MMOs. It does still exist. I think you can download it off of Steam, but they actually had a tabletop role-playing game as well as lines of novels that you really just can't track down anymore. And if you do, sometimes they're pretty prohibitively expensive. And this is Truth and Steel. Cannell Devlin, a Steel Warriors mercenary from Freeport, never met a fight he didn't like. He's got little use for the gods or magic, trusting in his own prowess and the perfection of his martial training to see him through. But when a chance encounter in the mountains with a haughty and zealous follower of Nathaniel Marr turns tragically awry, Cannell sees it's Daniel with a KH, so I'm probably pronouncing it really wrong, sees his perfect world crumble. Unable to accept the flaws suddenly exposed within, the warrior turns away from his humanity and aspires to live only as an animal, fighting for survival. Living among the vicious ogres of Agak, Cannell finds the very escape he seeks. Soon enough, though, the former mercenary discovers that running away from his past is not so easy. And a strange twist of fate forces him to choose between the beast he sees inside and the humanity he fears to face. ... Yeah, so this is, it even actually has a Sony Online Entertainment stamp. And I don't remember when Sony Online Entertainment disappeared. For those of you that don't know, Sony way back when owned EverQuest, and they also owned like a bunch of other MMOs that all operated under Sony Online Entertainment. They even had Star Wars Galaxies at one point. I think maybe I'm going to date myself here a bit. I think 2007, 2008 is when they all went under. But once again, don't quote me on that because I am going off the top of my head. But I am going to try to track down more of those EverQuest books. I kind of hope it's good. Obviously, with anything EverQuest, the names are kind of hokey. And it is based off of the EverQuest game. So a lot of the region names are going to be similar, kind of hokey a bit. I mean, some of the names in EverQuest were cool. Some of them were like really bad fantasy names. But, you know, that's kind of to be expected, especially when you're talking about like one of the earliest MMOs that we all had. But yeah, if you're like me and you liked EverQuest or you grew up playing EverQuest, like I think it's going to be cool to kind of revisit it with fiction. At least I hope. But yeah, that'll definitely be a book that I'll do a review on once I finish reading it. Next up is a book I've seen the cover of, but I actually like didn't know a whole lot about it. And this is Wetwork, and it's got that really cool picture of like a tower, a skyscraper with like a red skull thing in the back. And it says the most acclaimed novel of epic terror since The Stand. And this is, Wetwork by Philip Nutman. And a vital and original talent, says Clive Barker. So I think I might add this book to the post-apocalyptic reading I want to do, because I want to read... I've never read The Stand, I've only seen the series. So my train of thought is that I will read this book, as well as Carry On Comfort, Swan Song, and I think there was one other that commonly gets compared to The Stand all the time. And I will also read The Stand, and that'll be like my whole month's reading for whatever month I do that. And some of these books are pretty long, so it might end up being more like 2 months worth of reading, and then just like review them all based on which ones I think are actually the closest to The Stand. I don't know if anyone has any interest in that, but I've seen so many books compared to The Stand on their covers that I honestly kind of just want to see if any of them stack up. And also, if The Stand is worth stacking up against, if that makes sense. Because once again, I have never read the book. I have only ever seen the television show. It was like a television mini-series thing. And I saw the old one. I think they've actually redone it since then. And the old one was alright. I wasn't a huge fan of the end, but I liked a lot of it in the beginning. But yeah, if anyone has any interest in that, let me know, because that is something I am considering doing. If not, I will probably just read those books and sprinkle them in throughout my TBRs as I go. But yeah, anyway, this is Wetwork, and it says, prepare yourself for a new experience in terror. A brilliantly shocking novel that has captured the attention and praise. Oh, it actually doesn't say anything about the novel. Well, that's a little disappointing. It's just about how good it is. Which is fair. A lot of books actually used to do that. I think some still do. I'm a fan of a description on the back, but we don't always get that. And this, the next book is John Saul, The God Project, which has been a used book a number of times. It still has all these different stickers. And it just kind of shows like a glowing crib. John Saul is just one of those authors that I pick up if I see, because I know, anything he writes, even if it's not the most amazing book that's going to blow me out the water, it's going to be an entertaining read. Okay, so this does have a description. I only paused because at the top it was just once again like, this is the best book ever. And I didn't actually see a description, but there is one at the bottom. And it says, something is happening to the children of Eastbury, Massachusetts. Something that causes healthy babies to turn cold in their cribs. Something that strikes at the heart of every parent's darkest fears. Something unexplained that is taking the children, one by one. Sally Montgomery has just lost her beautiful little baby girl. Lucy and Jim Corliss, bitterly divorced, have been reunited by the sudden disappearance of their son. An entire town waits on the edge of panic for the next child to be taken. They all know there must be a reason for the terror, but no one ever expected the God Project. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty interesting. Someone's taking kids or killing kids. Either way, it's gonna be good, because John Saul, like I said, it's always an entertaining read. Next up is a book that I've seen the cover of, but I've never actually read. And this is Earth Magic by Alexi and Corey Panshin. I still am on a big sword and sorcery kick, as you will see as I get closer down to the bottom of this book haul. And it says, Panshin is back. Alexi Panshin, oh. That is not the description. Haldane, the only son of the legendary Black Morka, War King of the Gets, is held on a tight rein by his father, but when a witch in the woods marks Haldane for the service of the goddess Libera, goddess of the old people, Haldane's familiar world is dissolved in chaos, harried by the savage hunting pigs of enemies seeking to have his head. Haldane flees across a landscape grown alien. His only strengths, the failing art of an aged wizard and the perilous favor of the goddess. In a final confrontation, Haldane must find his true identity amidst the rustling armor and the rocks of power on Stone Heath, where the Gets once met their doom. So yeah, I don't know if this is part of a series or not. If so, I might be a little lost in the sauce, but either way, it seems like it's going to be kind of fun. It looks Sword and Sorcery on the cover, but definitely reads like it's going to be a little more Sword and Planet on the back. Next up is a book I actually have really high hopes for, because I love vampires, if y'all haven't caught this yet on the channel. And this is Department 19 by Will Hill. And it says, battling vampires since 1892, now it's time to raise the stakes. And it's kind of got this cool cover that's really giving me a, minus the like police helmet thing, but with all like the weapons and the kind of like gothic cross, it's giving me a little bit of Warhammer vibes. And it says, tell the boy to come. My master is more powerful than you can imagine, she said. Like how powerful? Like a god, like that powerful. I don't believe in God. She smiled at him, and Jamie saw the white fangs below her upper lip, and he shivered. You should, she said. You really should. So they opted out to not do a description on the back and instead do some dialogue tags. There's an inside description. It says, in an underground supernatural battle that's been raging for over a century, the stakes have just been raised. When Jamie Carpenter's mother is kidnapped, he finds himself dragged into Department 19, the government's most secret agency. Fortunately for Jamie, Department 19 can provide the tools he needs to find his mother and to kill the vampires who want him dead. But unfortunately for everything, something much older is stirring. Something even Department 19 can't stand up against. So yeah, this seems like it might be more of a young adult book, but either way, if it's people fighting vampires, I'm going to be pretty excited. The next one is The Best of Outside, the First 20 Years, and this is just a nonfiction book about Outside Magazine. I'm just kind of including everything because it was in the pile. This is just a bunch of essays on travel fiction. I like, not travel fiction, but like essays on travel. I'm going to enjoy that. I like reading people's travel stories, especially like adventure travel. Then next up is another book that I've been looking for a while. This is Michael Crichton's The 13th Warrior. I really love this movie. I think the story was originally called Eaters of the Dead. I have not read it yet though. I am already started it. I'm on like chapter 2. And it says, in the year AD 922, a refined Arab courtier, representative of the power caliph of Baghdad, encounters a party of Viking warriors on their journey to the barbaric north. He is appalled by Viking customs, the wanton sexuality of their pale, angular women, their disregard for cleanliness, their cold-blooded human sacrifices. But only the depths of the Northland does he learn the horrifying truth. He has been enlisted to combat a terror that comes under cover of night to slaughter the Vikings and devour their flesh. If you have not seen the movie, watch it. It's so good. Some people didn't like it. I loved it. Next up, I have a bunch of Robert E. Howard collections. First up is El Borak by Robert E. Howard. This is the wily Texan El Borak, a hardened fighter who stalks the sandscapes of Afghanistan like a vengeful wolf. Is rivaled among Howard's creations only by Conan himself. I'm not going to read all of this, but this is like the entire collection of El Borak stories. I have not read any El Borak stories before, so I am pretty excited about that. Next is another collection I've been looking for a while. This is Call, Exile of Atlantis. I remember the Call movie from way back when, but I have not actually read any Call. I've read some Call comics, but I haven't read any of the short stories, so I'm pretty excited to dig into this. I was originally gonna wait and try to find a copy out in the wild because there are some cool Call collections with really awesome artwork, but I just kind of gave in and bought, the collections that are like this because A, they're a little easier to read, to be honest, and also they're probably way more durable than if I was to find an old paperback, because especially with sword and sorcery paperbacks, sometimes I get really lucky and other times they are not in the best condition. And next up, as you have already seen, I have Bran McMorn, The Last King, which I also haven't read enough of. I have read one Bran McMorn story before actually getting this collection. And then, since we're already on a sword and sorcery bent, I also got Samhain Sorceries, edited by D.M. Ritzland, featuring a new bard story by Keith Taylor, and this is another DMR Books collection. I mean, this is just a beautiful cover. And it says, now at Samhain, ritual fires of ash and applewood mixed with bull's bones burned on the heights and the shore to deter malign spirits or demons out of hell, as the Christians said. This is a collection of sword and sorcery stories from DMR Books. And it has a beautiful cover, beautiful back. I mean, I love everything they do. I'm really big into small presses putting out just like really high quality books like this and just beautiful covers and stuff, because as someone that you might not notice, but because I have done a lot of book hauls, but I purge my shelves pretty regularly, because I do a lot of things where I buy a bunch of old books, and one of the things that deters me from donating a book or something like that is usually does it look beautiful on my shelf. Also, short story collections definitely are something that stick around, just because they have a lot more readability than if it's like book 8 in a random series. I know I'm not going to go back and reread. Sorry, all the Redwall books, because I pick them up over the years and then I read them and then they go right back to wherever I found them. But that's another tangent. Next up, I have the 3 complete novels of Don Goldsmith, winner of the Golden Spur Award, and this is The Changing Wind, The Traveler, and World of Silence. I have not read any Don Goldsmith before, but I saw winner of the Golden Spur Award, which is basically like the book award, I think, for Western fiction, and I just, went ahead and got it. I am trying to find other Western authors that aren't Lewis L'Amour and aren't William Johnstone to really get into, especially ones that have big back catalogs. And yeah, I've tried some more modern ones, but maybe I just haven't tried the right ones yet. Like I said, I'm fishing around. If you have any Western recommendations, let me know, because like I said, I am looking for more stuff to read. But yeah, this is my most latest book haul. This is probably the last book haul I do in October. I don't really have one planned in November. Like I said, I just ended up doing a lot of thrifting this month, mostly looking for costume stuff, and then I ended up buying a bunch of books. And I also obviously ordered some stuff online, but I don't really have any plans to do that again until probably after Christmas. So this will probably be the last book haul for a while. I did get some ebooks and stuff, but I did kind of opt out of doing an ebook book haul just because I tend to get a lot of my ebooks for free, and these videos would just be a whole lot longer, and it would also be a lot of me like pointing like this and trying to figure out where I want to like have the cover pop up. And I'll be honest, I just didn't really want to fool with that. And also, you know, sometimes I do get ebooks that I don't think I'm ever going to review, where if I buy the physical copies, they are books that'll probably pop up again on this channel, but minus the nonfiction books. I don't plan on really doing reviews of like nonfiction books or anything like that, at least not in the foreseeable future. I do think I might talk about some horror movies that have that are based on books, such as the new Hellraiser came out. But I'm still playing around with that. There are a lot of movie review channels, just like there are a lot of book review channels, so I really don't know if I want to dip my toe in other waters, but we'll see. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you've read any of these books, want to read some of these books, or have some books like them you'd like to recommend me, always let me know. I'm always on the lookout to find new books to read. And as always, please like and subscribe.